What is error handling? In how many ways you can implement error handling in Node applications? Let's start with the definition this time. Error handling is the process of managing errors that occurs during the execution of a program or application. Okay. Now, there are many ways to handle errors in Node projects, but it depends on your choice and basically which methods you prefer. And here are the 4 techniques for error handling. The first error handling technique is the try catch block with synchronous operations. Okay. Second is error first callbacks using them. Third technique is using promises with asynchronous operation. And fourth, and I think it's the most popular one, the try catch with async await for the asynchronous operation. And if you already know some of these concepts like the promises, async await, then error handling is very easy for you. Okay. And in upcoming question, I will quickly cover all these techniques also. But for now, you know what is error handling. We have to manage the errors, right? We have to report them, log them, and then we have to analyze them. For that, we have to write some code, and that is error handling. How to handle errors in synchronous operations using try catch finally. Let me explain quickly with the help of the code. See, first we will write all our synchronous code inside this try block. Okay. Now, whenever any error will occur in this try block, for example, here I am forcefully, intentionally throwing this one error. But of course, in real application, you will have some code and that will throw error when some user is using it, right? But here I am doing it intentionally just to show you how the flow work. Okay. Now to handle this error, we will use the catch block like this. Now what happened? The error will be received. If there is any error in the try block, the error will be passed to this catch block and this error parameter will have all the details of that error. Okay. So here inside the catch, we can log the error to some log file, and there are different ways to log, and then developer later can analyze and fix that error, right? So this is try catch is all good for managing the errors, but sometimes there is a situation when we have to execute some code irrespective of the error. For example, suppose there are 5 lines of code inside the try block and an error occur at the 3rd line. Then execution will be immediately transferred to the catch block and the last 2 lines, 4th and 5th line of the try block will not be executed. Right? Agree? But suppose these 2 lines are like closing some connection and they must be executed. Okay. For that purpose, we will use the finally block and we will place those 2 lines of code inside the finally block. The whole point is finally block will execute the execute the code inside it, whether the exception will occur or even if doesn't occur, in both cases it will execute. So put that code inside here which you want to run, whether the error occur or not occur. And finally, here is our output. When the error occurs, the catch block is executed, and then see, finally block code is also executed. So that's the output. Great. That is the whole story, the whole overview, and the same thing about the try catch and finally is written here also. This can help you in the last minute revision just before the interviews, very quick and fast from the book. What is error first callbacks? Error first callbacks are a way of handling errors only in a synchronous operation in Node application. Okay. And their way of working is hidden in their name only. Focus on the name. Error first callbacks. Now let me explain and show the code. See, here is a very simple error first callback function defined. Okay. This is error for. It is error first because in this function, first parameter is the error object, right? And second is a callback function. because because we can use this function only by passing this function as the parameter in the other function like this. See, and if you can see the body of this async operation function, then it is receiving this error first callback function as the parameter. So here, if some error, so now you understand the naming, right? Error first callback, and how it is defined. Now here, if some error will occur, then that error will be passed as the argument of this callback function. Okay, and up there the error first callback function, that error will be handled. Getting my point? So that is the purpose of this error first callback function, to handle the errors. Now obviously in real projects you will not set the error like this new error object I have did it here. Okay, because so basically in application the real code, the error will be come from the user, but just I did it to show you. So in our real application, wherever any function will do some asynchronous operation, we will pass this error first callback function as a parameter like this, and we will reuse it many places in our application. Okay, so for what purpose? For managing the errors. Okay, that is the purpose of this function, and that is one way of managing the errors also. Great. I think now you have your answer, and at last I have written here 2 sentences about the error first callbacks, so that your revision will be super easy and fast as well. How to handle errors using promises. I hope you are already aware about the promises, and then you know the 90% of the answer. Just I will show you here in 50 seconds. Here is the sample promise code, and when this promise is executed, and if the operation inside it is successful, then this resolve will execute, right? But if the operation fails, then reject will execute, and where you can pass the error, and this error will be received by the catch block, which will actually handle the error. Okay, right? That is the short answer. The short answer is the catch block in promises is used for error handling with promises. So yes, you have some understanding of promises, otherwise you have to get it. Okay, so that's the answer to this question. How to handle errors using async await. Again, I hope you already have some idea about async await in JavaScript or Node, because here we will only focus on the error handling part of the async await. Okay, we will not complete like from the beginning. So here is the function that returns a promise. Now either you can use the catch keywords to handle the result of this promise, or we can use the async function like this. Okay, and there we will call this async function which returns the promise, okay, which was written above, by using this await keyword. So this is also an alternative way of handling promises result, and nowadays it is very popular because of many reasons. Now to handle errors, here we can use again our try catch block like this. Okay, and you already know how try catch block works, right? Any error in try block will be sent to the catch block. Great. The short answer is try catch block is used with async await for handling the errors, and that is the answer to this question. So sometimes we know big things, we know async await, we know promises, but this short question inside from the main questions can confuse us, right? Like how to handle errors in async await. So now you know, right? How can you debug Node.js application? Now there are many techniques to debug Node applications, and it's up to you what you prefer. I will share the names of 5 debugging techniques. So first one is you can use this console.log, or you can say the second technique is the debugger statement. Then we have third technique, Node.js inspector tools or Visual Studio code debugger, and the most basic one you already know, I hope, Chrome developer tools. Okay, now remember, in interviews, please name only those techniques that you can explain a bit. Okay, never say any word in interviews that you cannot explain, because then you will be trapped in your own words. Okay, so speak what you know, what you can explain. And here I hope you already know this console log and Chrome developer tools. You already know. Rest are the tools. If you don't know, no problem. Okay, great. That is the short and simple answer of this question.